You're pitiful, just a dropout kid from the lowest rung. I bet you were raised in poverty and now your child is living at the bottom of society. I see, so that's your way of thinking, I replied. Got it. My name is Mary. My life, though it feels strange to say it myself, has been full of ups and downs. Just before finishing middle school, my parents passed away in quick succession. As a result, I lost my motivation to study for exams. I just wasn't in the right mental state anymore, and because of this, I failed all the high school entrance exams, including my safety school. So there I was at 15, standing at a crossroads, to take a gap year or start working. Truth be told, I did want to go to high school, but the relatives who took me in didn't have much financial leeway. I also wanted to save my parents' life insurance payout for the future. Plus, there was the embarrassment of entering high school a year late. So, I made the decision to start working and have been doing so ever since. I think I was 19 back then, dating John, who was a coworker at my workplace. He was 27 at the time. You're with someone that much older? Are you sure about this? A guy making moves on a 19-year-old? Is he really responsible? My aunt, a relative, was worried for me, but young as I was, I didn't listen. John is a great guy. Yes, there's an age difference, but an 8-year gap isn't that unusual, right? Well, if it were 25 and 33 maybe, but 19 and 27 is something else. What's the difference? Stop bad-mouthing him. And in that spirit, we got married when I turned 20. Then, a few months later, I found out I was pregnant. I was happy, but it didn't last. When I told John I was pregnant, he said, "What, you plan on having it? Seriously? No way. Okay, I can't deal with a child from a dropout. Why do I have to raise a kid that will be like you? Why would you say such a thing? You knew I was a dropout when we got married, right?" Yeah, I guess, but no, it won't work out. I mean, having a kid with a dropout, the kid's gonna turn out weird, right? I don't want to raise a kid like that. I also want more free time. John said that and stopped coming home. Even at work, he managed to evade me. He was only urging me to agree to a divorce. As time went on, my feelings for John cooled, and I agreed to the divorce. But my job at the time was at a small company that didn't have a maternity or paternity leave system, so I had no choice but to resign around the same time as the divorce. After that, with the help of my relatives and the remainder of my parents' life insurance money, I managed to give birth safely. I named my son Jacob and have been raising him with all the love I have. Fortunately, I was healthy after giving birth, and I worked multiple part-time jobs to earn our living. By the time Jacob reached elementary school, I had a full-time job and emotional leeway. Now, 20 years have passed since those days. These days, I even have the luxury of going shopping with Jacob on our days off. Hey, are you married by any chance? Just then, I heard a voice. A voice I remembered but would rather forget. The owner of the voice was John, my ex-husband, the man who had abandoned me. When I was pregnant 20 years ago, I knew it was you, Mary. So what brings you to a department store on a day off? Isn't this out of your league? John looked at me with a smirk on his face. Jacob was probably puzzled by the sudden appearance of a stranger, looking down and troubled. I thought he might be your boyfriend, but he's pretty young, isn't he? Oh, is this the kid from back then? So it's a boy. Well, it doesn't concern me anyway. That's right, you and I have nothing to do with each other anymore, John. Why are you talking to me? Don't be like that. We used to be in love. You become quite a cold old lady, haven't you? John was approaching with a grin as if the past meant nothing. Then he said something outrageous. By the way, is he a dropout too? What? What do you mean by that? Well, I mean a dropout's child would be a dropout, right? You're a dropout, so it makes sense if he is too, right? Stop it. Don't say such awful things. Ah, but he does carry half of my blood, so he must have at least made it through high school, right? Well, in this day and age, even with a high school diploma, you're pretty much at the bottom of the barrel, John exclaimed, mentioning the name of a well-known multinational company, the type you'd often see in commercials these days. Mary, even you must know this company, right? I'm a department head at a huge corporation. I'm what you'd call an elite, right? And what does an elite want with me? Are you stupid or what? Do you think I have any use for someone as uneducated and poor as you? I just called out to you for old time's sake. Frankly, you're a nuisance. Don't say that. That's why you'll never amount to anything, you know. Ever since I met you, my luck turned around. I was headhunted by a major corporation, and I've been climbing the corporate ladder at a rapid pace. Life sure is different without a jinx like you around. Oh, so I'm a change to you, John. In that case, wouldn't it be better if you didn't contact me? No, sometimes I just want to look at the bottom of the barrel to remind myself how fortunate I am. You see, in my company, there's no one like you, not even the lowliest workers. But it really seems that poverty is a spiral, and the bottom will always stay at the bottom. Is that all you wanted to say? We're in a hurry, you know. Hold on a second. Let me say a word to my son. As he said that, John put a casual hand on Jacob's shoulder, a smug grin on his face. Then, while smiling, he said, "You're probably having a tough life too, but it can't be helped. Blame your mother for being poor and uneducated. If you're going to resent someone, resent your mother for giving birth to you right out of middle school." John seemed satisfied after saying this. Just then, a beautiful woman who seemed to have a close relationship with John came over. "John, what's taking so long?" The restroom was crowded. "Oh, I just happened to run into an old acquaintance. Can you believe this woman dropped out of school in the middle of high school? Not even a high school grad, but a middle school dropout. Can you believe it? And her son will probably end up at the bottom of the barrel as well. Isn't it good that you didn't have to lead such a poor life? You're lucky to have caught a high-performing guy like me," John bragged, completely ignoring us as if we weren't even in his field of view. However, the woman seemed to notice Jacob when he raised his head. She pointed at him and started to shake uncontrollably. Isn't he? What's wrong? Isn't that the president of one of our major clients?" Surprised by the woman's voice, John turned around. The moment he saw Jacob's face, his eyes widened instantly. Seeing this, Jacob slowly opened his mouth. "I did hear your company's name earlier, but seeing your face, I thought it might be you." "Indeed, you are the one. Thanks for your hospitality at that dinner the other day." That Mr. Jacob. You were so modest at the restaurant. It's surprising to see this side of you, criticizing people publicly, calling them low-life and uneducated as you please. You're pretty rude, aren't you? No, that's Lily. Why didn't you tell me? I couldn't see him well. Besides, I work in a different department. I can't remember all the clients' faces. Useless. What did you say? The man and the woman, John and Lily, started arguing, but Jacob ignored them and said, "Well, I'm not interested in your arguments anyway. I now understand the director's usual way of thinking. We were discussing introducing our system to your company. Let's forget that idea," Jacob said, turning to leave. "No, wait. Please, this is some misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding? What's misunderstood about the fact that you've insulted me in public?" "That is, it's your fault, Mary." "Ha! Why is it my fault?" I asked, incredulous. "That's because, why the hell is someone like you, a high school dropout, with Mr. Jacob? Do you know who this man is? He started a business while in college and has numerous patents. The system he develops is so advanced that major companies are dying to adopt it." Is that so? Why are you with him when you don't even know that?" "I don't know. I don't usually talk about work with my son." "What? Your son?" "Yes, nice to meet you. I am Jacob, the son of the high school dropout." "Well, it seems you want to say something to my mother. Please go ahead and say it all now. After all, we probably won't meet again." "Oh well, what's going on? Why is someone like you? I mean, do you want to say why someone like Jacob's mother is a high school dropout?" John was taken aback by Jacob's words. He seemed to want to insult me but didn't seem to have the power to do it. He glanced back and forth between me and Jacob, looking troubled. "From my early childhood, my mother has taught me many things. She didn't have a higher education, only going as far as middle school, but she read many books and taught me a lot from them." "Who? What? I can't believe Mary had such talent." There was one thing my mother never spoke about, though: the criticisms of my father, who abandoned her and me during her pregnancy. I've always resented my father, but my mother always said it was her own fault for being naive. Even when we had no money, even when we were hungry, she was always smiling. She's the person I respect the most. "So you respect her, but Mr. Jacob, you have my blood too, right? Can you really not sign a contract with my company?" "Yes, I can't. What's really unthinkable is your behavior. This is a public place, you know. Don't you think your actions have been embarrassing?" No. That's the truth. I just see Mary as a stupid woman. That's all. And what does that make you? The man who had a child with this stupid woman. What kind of person does that make you, the one who abandoned her when she was so young? Maybe she was naive, but do you have any idea how much hardship she has gone through? You seem proud of working for a big company, but why didn't you give her even a single cent of child support? Ah, John seemed at a loss for words at Jacob's accusations. Upon hearing Jacob's words, Lily's expression changed. Her face, which had previously looked troubled, was now glaring at John. Hold on a second, that's not what I heard. No, you just be quiet. No way, didn't you tell me that your previous wife cheated on you and left? That you weren't allowed to see your child? That you couldn't even get her to accept your child support payments, so you just kept saving it? Was all that sob story a lie? It seems likely that it was a lie. My mother and I are still living with our relatives. The father there should know the place. If he really wanted to give child support, he could come there at any time. Hey Mom, has this man ever contacted you? Not once. Not on my cell phone, not at a relative's house, and of course, I've never heard anything about child support. Hearing my words, Lily looked furious. In contrast, John turned a sickly pale color. You lied. You're the worst. I'm glad I never married you. We're breaking up right now. Wait, Lily, please don't leave me. John hurriedly chased after Lily. Jacob and I looked at each other and burst into laughter at the retreating figures. John's appearance was so pathetic that we couldn't help but laugh. We enjoyed some window shopping after that and went home feeling satisfied. Jacob later filled me in on the details. His company and John's were about to sign a substantial contract, but Jacob decided to withdraw at the last minute. Naturally, John's company asked why. It seems like Jacob was completely honest about it all. He said, "Your representative was my father, the man who left my pregnant mother and never provided child support. To trust such a person and do business with him? Impossible. The system I developed is like my own child. To entrust this system to him, just thinking about it makes me feel disgusted." Of course, this failure became a major issue. The company apparently punished John by demoting and sidelining him, hoping that this would make Jacob reconsider the contract. From Jacob's perspective, it seems like he might reconsider if they cut John's bonus. Surely John will be facing even tougher times from now on. But that's what he deserves, right? He's 48 now, so he only needs to endure another 12 years until retirement. My mom had it way tougher for much longer. When you consider that, this isn't tough at all. Jacob, saying this, had a face of genuine anger. I understood his feelings, so I didn't plan to stop him. In his panic, John came running to our relative's house. At the entrance, he bowed deeply, pleading desperately. "I'm sorry for what I did back then. I lied about having paid child support, but I do have savings. I'll give Jacob the equivalent of child support as a gift while I'm alive. I'll even pay Mary compensation if necessary. So please reconsider." However, Jacob didn't even want to hear such talk. He said to John, "I'm not interested in your savings now. Our hardship was in the past. You didn't help us then, and now you only want to save yourself. That's an awful thing to say." Sorry. I was young too. Please forgive me." People who truly regret their actions wouldn't say they could pay if needed. You're just selfish to the end. Please leave. If you come to this house again, I'll call the police. Wouldn't that jeopardize your position in the company even further? At Jacob's words, John fled in a panic. Thanks to Jacob, he probably won't come to this house again. We should be able to live peaceful days from now on. Jacob is currently busy earning all his college credits, but once that's all done, he plans to take the entire family on a trip to a hot springs resort. I told him he didn't have to do that, but Jacob insisted he wanted to return the favor. If that's the case, we'll gratefully take him up on his offer. Surely we'll be able to have a good time on that trip.